Hello, good evening. My name is Elias Munsha, and thank you for joining me and joining TV Bakwetu today on Sunday, March 16, 2021. I am going to let you spread the word around so that as many people as possible can join us. It's going to be a great show as always. And so I'm going to let you spread the word around. Please do so. Spread the word around. We are live. Share with as many pages as possible so that we can get started. We have some speculations to do. As usual, we are people of speculation. Tomorrow is a big day for the Patriotic Front and our country. Wednesday is a big day for the UPND and our country. And so if we have so much that is going to be happening, why can't we do a little bit of freedom of speculation? And so that is what we are going to be doing today. It's the freedom of speculation. 16, 2021. It's the freedom of speculation. So please spread the word around. Okay. We're going to let you spread the word around and let me know where you are receiving us from. Okay. If you are in London, Germany. If you are in Germany, please. If you are in Germany, Sweden, Finland, Australia, Kwasokontwe, Milenge, Solwezi Koko, and Chuempala, Chingola, please let us know so that we can know which places are covering us. We are waiting to have General Chipakupaku. He will be joining me shortly. And so he will be joining me shortly, and we are going to have lots of fun. That is the link that I've just sent there. That is the link to our show for a few people that are going to make it into our show. Not everybody, but for the few that can make it into our show, please do so. General Chipakupaku will be joining me shortly, and we're going to get started. Yeah. Okay, we're going to get started. Let me just spread. I'm also spreading. Remember, we've got to spread the word. We've got to spread the word. Okay. So I'm going to begin with something that is very clear and straightforward. As I'm waiting for General Chipakupaku to join me, I'm going to get started. But there is this misunderstanding, okay? It's a huge misunderstanding of what the Constitution actually says about independent candidates, okay? What does the Constitution actually say about independent candidates? Because I'm getting all these, ideas. Let me just do this. All right, just give me a few minutes. We've got to deal with a little mechanical issue, and then we're going to continue. But please keep spreading the word around. We've got a lot to deal with. Okay, just give me a second here. We've got to spread. I need to send a link. All right. As we are doing this, please keep sharing, keep sharing, because we've got this. To be doing today. It's the freedom of speculation. Okay, we're going to send the link shortly. Just give me a second. Okay. Keep spreading the word around. Keep sending the word around. Keep sending the word around, and we're going to see. General, the link is on my Facebook on the actual timeline. Are you able to see it? On the actual timeline. I can't copy it to WhatsApp.
Yeah, because the fact you want to get it there.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm going to see what I can do here. Okay, just give me a second.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
But you can also cut and paste from the Facebook. You can just cut and paste it into your. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. Here is another link. I was talking to my co-host, General Chipako, and so yeah, okay, right. So there is all this idea about what the Constitution actually says about independent candidates. Now, have you checked out what the Constitution actually say about independent candidates? The Electoral Commission of Zambia is making up some things about what the Constitution actually says, and we need to correct it. The Constitution says what it says, and the Constitution does not say what it does not say. What this means is that we should not begin reading into the Constitution what it does not actually say. The Constitution is very clear, and so we shouldn't put spanners or come up with things that the Constitution actually has not actually said. And so we need to make sure that we deal with what the Constitution actually says, and not just mere speculations. That's very important, because unless the Constitution actually says something, we can't speculate that is what it says. That's very important. Okay, so what does the Constitution actually say? That's the question. What does the Constitution actually say about independent candidates? I'm trying to use this device here to spread the word around, so just give me a second here. It looks like it's not being picked. Okay, I think we've been picked now. It should be good. I think it should be good now to go. All right. So what does the Constitution actually say about independent candidates? All right. I think we've got it done now. All right. I think we are good to go. We are ready to go. All right. So the Constitution says that an independent candidate must not have been a member of a political party at least 2 months from the date of the election. At least 2 months from the date of the election. And so 2 months from the date of the election is, the date of the election is August 12. So 2 months back is actually June 12, which means an independent candidate cannot be a member of a political party unless they have resigned at least 2 months before the date of the election. In this case, then, the date of the election is August 12, and therefore they cannot be members of a political party by June 12. That is what the Constitution says. Now, I think the Electoral Commission of Zambia is trying to bring confusion and misunderstanding. That provision does not say that independent candidates cannot promote a party of their choice, or they cannot promote any presidential candidate, or they can't wear any party's regalia. That is not what the Constitution says. So we need to be very clear, so that the Constitution says what the Constitution says, and we do not read into the Constitution what the Constitution does not actually say. In order for the Constitution, in order for independent candidates to be deprived of their freedoms, what are these freedoms? They are under the Bill of Rights. In order for the Constitution to deprive independent candidates of their freedom of association and the freedom of believing in any presidential candidate, the Constitution must be very clear and unambiguous. In our circumstances, the Constitution is not clear and unambiguous. What it says is that they cannot be members. Other than that, it does not say anything further. which means these independent candidates are in perfect order to bring confusion in the political parties that refuse to sponsor them. So I understand that the Patriotic Front has really gone berserk, because the Patriotic Front is the one that has been greatly affected by this independent candidate phenomenon. They can't just do without the independent candidate phenomena, without confusion. So because of all this confusion, they want to stop people from participating, which is not actually the correct one. Okay. Now, I did mention a few days ago about Chimutengo Forest, and I received a lot of pushback about people accusing me that I was just being malicious. Chimutengo Forest. And today I have with me General, and then General is going to introduce us to our guest tonight. Please spread the word around, because our guest is here with us today. But first, let me go to General. General, how are you doing?
Good evening, Chiwampala. Good evening, Zambia. Good evening to our viewers. It has been a very, very busy weekend, but here I am, and it's going to be an exciting evening. How's Canada today?
Canada is very warm. It's 22 kilometers. Did I say 22? It's 22 degrees, not 22 kilometers. It's 22 degrees, wow. General. So it's extremely hot. And so you missed out on Friday because we missed you. Everyone here missed you. And they kept telling me, what have I done to General? And I told them, no, General is a busy man, actually.
Well, to our viewers, I work full-time, and I'm also part-time with UPND. We are preparing for the campaign. I've just come out from a training session 5 minutes ago. So I apologize. I saw a lot of comments. People were saying I had boycotted the broadcast. I didn't. I just couldn't join you because I was kept very, very busy. I saw a lot of comments. Even this evening, somebody was saying, "Where's the General?" I'm here.
Okay. Now, a lot has happened, but I think we need to go to our guest so that we can have enough time to talk about the other events that happened in Lusaka today, General. Over to you, and I'm going to now bring in, go ahead. Go ahead, General. It's your turn.
Thank you so much, and good evening, Ken Opanji Kaunda, and welcome to Wakwetu TV.
Good evening, man. How are you?
I'm fine, Keno. I will introduce you because I know you very well. I know everything about you.
Exactly.
And I will say everything I know, but I will give you the time also to tell us about yourself and also tell us about Chimtango. But the questions about Chimtango will be asked by my colleague, Elias.
All right.
And I also want you to answer a question. People think I'm a ghost. Others think that I've never been in the army. So I want you to also introduce me to the audience, because a lot of people don't believe what I tell them.
No,
so I will start by introducing you, Colonel. Colonel Panji Kaunda is the firstborn of Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, our first president. Colonel Kaunda is a real colonel. He retired from the army. And Colonel Kaunda is a former minister, deputy minister of Home Affairs, Works, and Dr. Colonel Kaunda was elected an MP, and I was honored to be one of the first people to persuade him to stand as an MP. This man never wanted to join politics, but we persuaded him to come back and stand in Chadiza when one of the UNIP MPs died in 1992. And I also ended up being general manager under Panji Kaunda and Rupia Banda under AgriCorp, which a lot of audience don't know. So I'm talking to my former boss in the army, a former boss at AgriCorp, a man I persuaded to join politics, and somebody I call my brother.
All right.
So, Colonel Panji Kaunda, we have a lot of discussions today. We want you to update us about Chimtango. we also want you to update us about what is happening at home. So I will hand over everything to Munsha, and probably, or you introduce yourself, Colonel.
You've done everything, man. What else do you have to say?
I've said everything. No, probably
Exactly.
I've missed something, Colonel. I don't want to discuss anything else. If you want to add anything before Munsha comes in, say it, please.
The only thing left at that time, now I'm a farmer doing bananas and the fruits in a place called Misale, which is on the border with Malawi. That's why I hibernate. Otherwise, everything else that you have said still stands today.
Yeah, I still remember telling our audience to say in 1991, the late Sata, our president, wanted your house, your farm in Sindamsari State because he thought you had guns.
Correct, yes. You know, that when you were that zero-option made up coup by the Chiluba regime. So he said we're training gorillas in a small farm in the border. So they came to search my farm, and I was, I think, in the cells for about 10 days before they released me. But
I remember very well all these things, including the arrest of Dr. Kaunda, taking him to Mkoveko, and so I will hand over to Munsha. Munsha, over to you.
Thank you. Colonel Kaunda, it's a great privilege for us to have you here on TV Bakwetu. Welcome.
Thank you, Comrade Munsha. How are you today?
I'm very well. I can see that you are one of the most recognizable faces in our country. Keep it up.
Thank you very much, Comrade. We'll try and do that.
How are you doing?
Well, we're doing very well. I came over to be with the old man on his birthday. It was a couple of days ago. So now we're going to go back to the farm tomorrow, God willing. We're going to continue with our farming. And by the way, the old man is very well. He's in very good spirits. So we thank all the Zambians and world over for their prayers for his longevity in his age. Otherwise, he's in good shape indeed.
Thank you. Kindly send our greatest wishes to the founding father.
That will be done. That will be done.
Thank you. Now, a person of your extensive history and service to our country requires a lot of time and various topics. But today, we want to zero in on one particular topic, Colonel. And that is what happened with Chimutengo Forest.
Right. It's a very interesting story, Comrade Elias. What happened was that our neighbor, the farm neighbor in Ndemsale, grows lots of macadamia nuts.
Right.
He has a huge estate of these nuts. So we approached him one day with my wife to see if he can be interested in doing an outgrow crop for our youths in Zambia, in Eastern Province in particular. So they agreed, said, yes, we can do that. But first and foremost, you must find a suitable land large enough to accommodate almost 2,000 hectares. There must be water, and must be stable land for that. So as you drive, nobody knows, as you drive from Chipata to Saka, you go past Chimutengo Forest.
Yes.
Which had gone almost dormant in terms of activity as a forest.
Right.
So I played back that request we made to our colleagues, to our neighbor, and we drove through the forest to see what we were thinking of. So I wanted to approach my colleague, my DC commissioner of Sinda, where the forest is, and gave him that idea that, look, can we use this land to accommodate this project, not only for the people in Sinda,
right,
literally for the whole of Western Province.
Now, who owns Chimutengo Forest?
This is the government forest. It's the government, which is gazetted by the government, not the Ministry of Lands.
All right. So is it like a reserve forest? Is it just like land lying around, or it's actually a reserve gazetted forest?
It is gazetted, and there was the plantation there where they were planting pine trees to make timber.
Right.
Except that in the last few years it has gone dormant. So we thought this is a government land, we're doing a project that would be suitable with the government youth and employment. We'd have no trouble in getting permission from the government for us to use this land.
Right.
So a few months down the road, going down to Lusaka, we found that the area had been fenced off.
Okay.
Fenced off. And the
so
size
what
of this,
was the nature of the fence?
It's a mesh wire.
All
and
right.
It's been electrified in some parts.
Okay.
So I went to my comrade like this. I said, what has happened? This forest has been fenced off. He gave me an answer that I wasn't happy with. So after a few days, went to the Minister of Lands, Inchpata.
Yes, please.
And we asked them, we've seen that the fence has been fenced off. Alas, no one was forthcoming.
Right.
They told us they didn't know what fenced off this land. So I said, look, this thing has been done during the day. Did you ask the guys? They said, yes, we asked them. Did you ask for the authority from government to say they've been authorized to fence off the land? Said, no, yes, we spoke to the workers, but they said the permit was in Osaka. Said, no, you are the owners of this land. You should know what's going on. So they said, no, this and that. And so we wrote a letter to the Minister of Lands. So this letter, we took it to the local minister, who is in Mr. Makebi's office, transmit to Osaka. They refused. So no, take this letter to the Forest Department. Fine. So we took the Forest Department, gave it to them, took it to the minister. After 2 weeks, we put this case in the press that because they didn't tell us who was the owner of that fence, but we knew in our case. So we went to the press, one of our media, local social media press, and we said, look, there's a fence done by a connected person to State House, and you don't know the owner, yeah. So anyway, we went to the Minister of Lands. She claimed she didn't receive our letter. I said, no, we gave it to your people in Sparta. No, I haven't got to my desk. So went back to Sparta, went to the Minister to the First Department. Where's the letter? You didn't send it. Said, no, we had no transport. The letter is here. So we got the letter from the First Department. And before that, I had gone to the Minister, to the Director of Forest Office, to inquire about that fencing off. He said he didn't know. Nobody knew. I said, do you know what was fenced off? No, we don't know. We don't have the details. We're investigating.
Right.
Anyway, so I got this letter from the department. We gave it to the Minister Direct Office, and we didn't hear anything back from them. Went to the PS, asked what was going on. He said, yes, the person who did this is Mr. Sila Lungu, the president's daughter. But we had told her not to do it, but she went ahead and did it. I said, well, what are you doing about the issue? They're just literally scared to tackle her to say this is wrong.
Right.
So in the end, we took the matter to the Anti-Corruption Commission to look into the matter. We went there, and after some years, some months and things, and then they now sent the matter back to the Minister of Lands. But you see, Elias, if you go into a forest without permission, it's an offense.
Right, yeah.
And the PS said so, that the young lady had committed an offense by doing what she did. And the act is very clear. Anyone who goes into a forest without permission is liable for a fine or imprisonment of whatever the judge might say.
Right.
So in reality, Ms. Lungu then had committed an offense against the Zambian government and people.
Yes.
So as days went by, after ACC, which is the Anti-Corruption Commission, sent the matter back to the Minister of Lands, I went to see him. What's going to happen now? He said, no, we're going to do this thing administratively, and we shall let you know. They never came back to us. So all we saw in the end was that the fence was being removed.
Right.
That's the result of what happened. But in my view, an offense had been committed.
Right.
And it's normal if no man goes through the forest to go and pick up a bag of charcoal, they will arrest him, take away his bicycle, and jail him or fine him. So in this case, maybe because she's a president's daughter, nothing happened. I think they removed the fence. The fence was given to her, and there's no case, legal case against her.
Colonel, so, I hear that she bought the farm which belonged to our friend, late Reverend Ben Zulu. Is it true?
Correct. Yeah, you see, she bought that farm, which is adjacent to the forest. Now, instead of just fencing off the farm which she bought, she fenced off even the 4,000 hectares of government land without permission from anybody. This was our complaint.
So Colonel, I want to understand this. So she just decided she has some land that she buys from Reverend Ben Zulu.
Correct.
But then she decides on her own, without permission from anyone, like you have said. She then goes and fences off an entire government forest.
Correct. And the PS told us that he had warned her not to go ahead. But despite that warning with the PS, she went ahead and did what she did. So the issue the thing was that see, that may be a forest, but the locals use it to gather a bit of firewood for themselves. They get some water. There's a clinic there, there's a school there, which the locals use. Right. Now, even we had the people being arrested for trespassing to go into that forest, which was
the local people in Sinda and Petauke.
Yes, use that for grazing of their cattle, even getting some of their firewood, and during the rainy season they get some mushroom and some fruits for them to use locally. And the first told us they were doing a study, this is a local forest in Chipata, to see how effectively they can use that land to benefit the locals. Now this land is fenced off, cut off completely by one person.
I don't really understand it. You and I can know that land very well. That is between Sinda and Petauke. In fact, when I was in Zambia recently, I had an accident right at Chimtengo Forest. I bashed the car. Right, I hit a cow. And we know that land all along. People get their mushrooms from there, and you find a lot of beautiful masuku every time. How did she end up fencing a government forest? I really don't understand it. And for our viewers, when I call Tasira, Mukula, Chimtengo Forest, Lungu, you laugh at me. And here you get the story from the horse's mouth. Musha, what do you think about this?
It's unbelievable. That's exactly what happened, because we are trying to let the people of Zambia know. Now, Colonel Kaunda, you've done a lot, and thank you for your service to our country. Of course, there are some political differences here for sure, but you have been a consistent voice for the people of Zambia. And so we thank you for taking that matter up. Had it not been for you, Colonel, that land would have been taken.
Exactly. It was taken.
It was taken.
You see, government ministers were driving past that forest. Right. The minister of the province was driving past that province. The officials from the forest department were driving past that, but they did nothing. They did nothing, absolutely nothing. But in my father's time, when he was president,
right,
we didn't deal with such a thing. I'll give an example. My young brother had an incident where accidentally he killed a young lady.
Right, yeah.
He was taken to court like anybody else.
Right.
He was sentenced to death. And my father was still president.
Right.
And he was only acquitted on appeal.
Right.
Myself, I was in business when I left the army. I was doing tracking between the Longway and Spa, taking things to the ports.
Right.
Then the Prime Minister of Zambia, late Mr. told my father that I was smuggling fish from Malawi to Zambia.
I remember that
Yeah.
very well.
He called me and with tears in his eyes, said, "What are you doing?" I said, "No, but the CITET, which was our economical thing, investigated me.
Right.
It couldn't have happened. This being a president's son or daughter doesn't give you what to do what you want to do in the country."
Right.
There's so many stories we hear about the young lady, but you can't verify or not. But you see, it's up to the president himself. He must have known.
Right.
This had happened.
Yeah, because
no
because it's not possible for Tassila Lungu Mwansa to go and fence off a forest.
Yeah.
And 4,000 square kilometers of forest is a huge chunk of government
Correct.
land. So there is no one who can go and fence off 4,000 acres of land in our country.
Hectares. Where was the minister? Where was the director of forest?
Right.
Where was the local officer in charge of forest? Where was the PS? There are so many people involved in this. Where were they?
Right.
So the first didn't come one day. It took months to do it.
Right.
So the whole thing was because she's from State House, therefore she's got leeway to do anything she wants to do, which is wrong. There can't be a law for those near the president and for the law for some of us. People are being arrested for being just having a camera in police station, and they're being arrested, put in jail.
Right.
People are in jail today because they have been accused of abducting somebody that is still alive and is on TV. But the law is more for them, and for us something else. So it's unfair, Elias, and should not happen in Zambia today.
Right. Now, you are the one of the most, perhaps the senior most. You belong to a very exclusive club of children of the presidents. And I think we should, even if we are not children of the president, but we should recognize you as the chair of that group. In the history of our country, has this ever happened where a child of a president abuses power in this manner?
No, not in our father's time. He used to tell us that, as no man will tell you. Let me give an example. If he went to the president Kaunda that time and sought help of any sort, you'll get it. If I went to him, you give me the backside, say, go and do it on your own. That's why we're able to stand today, talk to Zambians, because we didn't do, nobody can point anything at us.
Right.
Either when I was serving as the minister or the president's son, I haven't done anything that was contrary to the government rules and regulations.
Right.
That was he says, being president is not a kingdom. One day I'm going to leave this office and you must fend for yourself. And we are grateful for that upbringing, because otherwise we would have been in the streets begging, because we are former president's sons, therefore can do ABCD.
Right.
Yeah, Kenel, I was an instructor in the army. I was an instructor. I taught your young brother Kaweche at National Service. Yes. He was behaving like any other recruit. He never did show anything to say he was the president's son. And so I find it strange that the daughter of a president can behave the way he's behaving. Because I know your family. I know the Kaunda family. And I can vouch for you that you've never behaved like that. So when our viewers hear me saying Tassila, Mukula, Chimtengo Forest, Lungu, I mean it.
Right.
I mean it. What can stop her fencing the whole of Chawama tomorrow when she wins as MP? What can stop her fencing the whole of Mumbwa when she becomes a minister, if she becomes a minister? So Musha, I find it very, very, very annoying.
Right.
That she can be allowed to do that. I think let's move on. Let's move on, Kenel. What is the situation in Zambia politically now? And for you, I know you talk about Eastern Province. I think our viewers want to know what is happening in Eastern Province or the whole country.
Well, I can talk about Eastern Province, where I come from. There's a silent window of change. It's not like 1991 where people are shouting, change the streets. But if you go down to the people in the streets, I mean, in the villages, they want change. I'll give you a good example. Norman, you know Sweden, Norman. You know my farm in Lungu constituency.
Yeah.
We had an election a few months ago for a local council chairman. In my area, my farm area, UPND for the first time in history won all the polling stations there. And the candidate for UPND lost by a very narrow margin in a stronghold of PF. So this is the quite current going into the country.
Right.
So we're hoping that the people of Zambia will be strong enough to change government, because if we have another 5 years of my party in power, God forbid, this country is gone. It's gone to the dogs, but even the dogs want to accept us.
Okay.
Well, Colonel, there is also something very strange, which I think, Musha, if you can give me a chance.
Right.
We hear a lot of Malawians. Your farm, I know your farm very well, is on the border with Malawi and Mozambique. We hear a lot of Malawians were registered as voters. How true is that?
No, not in our area. I think just stories. So far, we didn't have any Malawians vote, registered in the last voters roll. No, that's not true. Maybe one or two, but not enough to change the.
I don't want to even go there. Anyone who accuses a Malawan of being a foreigner, Ine is not my friend. How can our Malawan relatives be foreign to us? No. If they are on the border, and they want to vote in Zambia, why not? It's their country. Why should we adhere to colonial borders and the borders borders? No. We refuse colonial borders and Kenneth Kaunda's borders.
Well, Kamuzu border.
Yeah, and Kamuzu border. No.
Musha, yeah. Musha, I think we move on, and unless you've got a question for Kenneth Kaunda, unless there's a question from our audience, I just want to say probably thank you so much, Kenneth, for coming. Yeah. And a lot of people, when we tell them the stories about the army, they always say I'm lying.
No, you never lied.
I think what I would like you to do is tell briefly my story, the story you know about this ghost they call Norman Chpokpok.
Well, this young man, I can call young man now. As you said, I stayed with him in the army for a long time. And I lost track of him completely. So when he moved to Sparta, we formed a cooperative. Cooperative, and it was doing very, very well until they became with power. And then we made him our manager. It was the most flourishing cooperative in Zambia at that time. We did lots of things for the people of Zambia. So I'm glad that he's still there doing similar things world over, and hope we can continue. But I want him to come back and help us with the campaign. Don't campaign from Scotland. Come back here, we'll go into trenches and we fight the battle together. You see,
I'm coming back, Keno. I'm coming back. And for me, you know me, when I commit myself to something, I mean it. So I'm coming back. And I'm just glad that you have told the audience that I'm not a ghost. That when I told them I was a soldier, I was a soldier. That I was a general manager, I was a general manager. That I was a member of Central Committee, yes, I was a member of Central Committee.
And you are a friend of Colonel Panji Kaunda. We believe you.
Yes, he's my elder brother. My elder brother. I used to go to Sindamusala and eat Nshima. Anytime he was in Chipata, he was at my office, we would eat Nshima. Even now, he stops over at my place in Chipata for Nshima. He knows that.
Correct.
Colonel Panji, I started my primary school at Mpezeni Primary School in 1985.
Is that so? Well, was 85, I was buying my family in Sindamusala.
Yeah.
I moved there in 1986 after we bought in 85. And you know who was my lawyer? The President Lungu was my lawyer to buy that land.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then Masia
goes very far. Now,
he was working for Masia then. He was working for Masia, Andrea Masia and Co.
You are correct, yes.
So has the gentleman changed, Colonel Panji? Is it the same gentleman you knew in 1986?
You know, personally, I'm very disappointed because we campaigned for him in Mungushi after the late president passed away. Yeah. And we thought that he would lead us well. We campaigned for him in 2015, 2016. But unfortunately, the activities of our government, my government, leaves a lot to be desired.
Right.
You know, we are mired in so much corruption that we have stopped seeing it as corruption. It becomes a way of life.
Oh, no. Yeah.
There's so much nepotism. The professionalism in the government and system has gone through the window.
Right.
Just see how the police behave towards the opposition or anybody that is not PF.
Right.
The PF cadres can drive across the road opposite the lane, shouting, nothing happens to them.
Right.
They can pick people who are wearing exchange for other people, wearing colors of other parties, nothing happens to them.
Right.
But you go into a police station with a camera, like what was happened that day, you are arrested.
Right.
We want this government to go. It's my government, my party.
Right.
But if my party is not doing something right, it's my duty to say so.
Right.
I have a right to do that. And this is what we're going to do in the campaign. We'll campaign against them. But at least maybe people will come and run the party. But the government needs to be changed. Otherwise, we're going to be in big trouble than we are today.
Colonel Panji, you were one of the very vocal campaigners in 2011 in the ushering in of the Michael Sata government. What is different this time? You campaigned for Michael Sata. Now that PF, it's now over. What has made you change to try and try a new government?
You see, we believed in the old man's character and what he was telling people what we're going to do.
Right.
We truly believed in Michael Sata. And we thought that the young man, Lungu, will carry that torch and do what change here or do things. But generally, we thought it would be what Sata wanted, but it didn't happen.
Right.
It didn't happen. So he doesn't deserve my vote anymore.
Right.
Because he has not done what we said, poor properties everywhere. So we would do a constitution that we will have stand the test of time. We never did that. There's nothing, we should go look through our manifesto. Because a manifesto is a promise you give to your voters.
Right.
After 5 years, second examination, after 5 years, you tick. Do you do this? Yes, do this. If it's no, how do we trust you that you do what you've said in your manifesto? We can't.
All right.
So the best thing is just to go and rest, regroup, and come back, start a new team, and see what happens to the new team. If they misbehave, also kick them out as well. That's our democracy.
So in a very direct manner now, Colonel Panji, who are you asking the Zambian people to vote for?
There's an alliance which is led by the UPND. That's which is most likely to win the elections. So we'll go for those.
Okay, thank you. General, do you have any? Now, I know that, just let me address this. I know that you as armies and retired soldiers, you are very strict on protocols. Colonel Panji, we call Mr. Norman Chipaku General because it's a nickname. It's not that he has higher rank than you, no.
So you see, even if I would train the officer that days who became officers, who became army commanders, they still call me sir and salute me.
Right.
No matter how big your goal, the senior man is always senior man. So if you see the general, you should salute me.
The colonel is my boss. I will always stand up and salute him. He knows that. And he is going to be my colonel, and he will continue being my colonel. I am general because that's what UPND people call me. My rank is known, and one of these days I'll bring my defense service certificate for people to see. Colonel Kaunda, I really wanted to thank you. I know you. You are my elder brother. I know you are disappointed. You've just referred to Mr. Lungu as that young man. I also call him a young man because he's younger than me. That people are disappointed. I am one of those who are disappointed. A lot disappointed. I never supported PF. But every time I came to Zambia, I would come to your office because I respected the government offices, and we would discuss about issues. One of the issues we used to discuss about agriculture. This government has completely failed.
That's why they've lost.
Not only failed, they are so corrupt on agriculture. So
that's why they've lost support.
Go ahead, sir.
Go ahead. They've lost support in Eastern Province because of the poor agriculture policies. You know, today we're shooting farmers who are trying to sell maize in Malawi because they see they're smuggling, and they kill them. They take away their thing. Instead of liberalizing the maize market, good policy, make them export whenever they want to do it, but they stop them. So Malawi has got a better price than us. This is people, African ones want to go and sell through the routes, and they're shot at, or their vehicles are taken off from them, and you can't expect people to vote for you when you're feeding their own sons.
Oh no,
we're real disappointed with some of our chiefs. We have really put their voice in the forefront of the PF, despite what they've done to their citizens. It's really shameful.
Yeah, it's pretty shameful. Thank you, Colonel Kaunda. We really appreciate your presence here. General Chipakupako, are we moving on?
Yes, we are moving on. I just want to say thank you so much, Colonel. Say hello to the old man, our commander-in-chief. Yes. I always tell people to say, I've only got one commander-in-chief. One. And the one commander-in-chief is the one I fought the war with to liberate Mozambique, to liberate Angola. Only one commander-in-chief.
President Lungu is still your commander. If he tells you today, you are going to even wear all those army things. What are you thinking?
This commander-in-chief is failing to order the army to get rid of the cadres. He is not a commander-in-chief because he can't command. That's why I always say I've got one commander-in-chief. Under Dr. Kaunda, this nonsense of the cadres would have never happened. Never.
Not at all. Not at all.
So thank you so much, Colonel, and have a lovely day.
Welcome, comrades. Enjoy your stay.
Thank you, Colonel.
Thank you, that's saving me. I'm so grateful.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. You'll be most welcome anytime, Colonel. Let's talk about agriculture next time.
Excellent. We'll do that. Good night. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you. God bless.
Bye.
So that was Colonel Panji. Now we still have a lot more things to talk about, so don't go, okay? Don't say now that Colonel Panji is gone and you also want to go. No, please stay on. Because Colonel Panji Kaunda needed to come and clarify the Chimutengo Forest issue. He's been very straightforward. He has told us, he has explained his role, and he has explained his passion for our people. And he's saying, these people, current people at State House right now, are a danger to Zambia and are a danger to you, the ordinary people of Zambia. It is not us that are making up these things. General Chipakupako is not just making up these things. It is something that is real. Chimutengo Forest was fenced off by no other than Tarsila Lungu. And the technocrats told her, you can't do this. But she did it anyway. That is what is known as an abuse of power. So you can't tell us that umuntu pantu ale moneka fyowa tekanya pamens what nishari tekanya. No. By their fruits you shall know them. In this case, what is the fruit? General Chipakupako. What is Tarsila's fruit?
Well, that's why I call her Tarsila Nkula and Chimtango Forest Lungu. Because you can tell if she can fence off the whole forest, something which is visible, what else has she done? Privately, secretly.
Right.
I even shudder to know what else has she done. If she can fence off the whole of that thing,
right?
I really fear what could have happened. What else has she done privately? Probably how many houses has she built in Lusaka?
Right.
So I really shudder to know.
All right. Okay, Colonel, we have a few minutes now. We need to engage in what is known as a speculation. Tomorrow, President Lungu is filing in his nomination and he must come up with a running mate. First of all, General, I just want to see how unusual it is that Vice President Wina was announcing her retirement on a Sunday. If I told him change today, paper, Mwaona General, is Tiri Sharandesh Nyanja, we are in church praying. To the busy. Vice President Wina has held a press conference announcing that she is retiring. Number one, I find it unusual. She should have retired during the conference of the PF. She didn't. She could have retired a few days after the conference. She did not. After the nomination, she did not. She retires on a Sunday, the day before filing in of the presidential nomination. What does that tell you?
It simply confirms what we have known, that there is a power struggle in the PF.
All right.
And to start with, in the last 5 years, they've not respected Vice President Inonge at all.
Right.
She has been sidelined many times.
Right.
And I'm sorry that I've got relatives in the Western Province. She's not respected in the Western Province because she failed to develop Western Province. If you drive the way I've driven on the Lusaka to Mongu Road, shocking. And
so why are they building roads? If the PF are saying that they are building roads, which roads are they building?
I don't know. I really don't know. I've driven on the Mongu Road. It's just unbelievable. If you go to Mongu, if you go to Sesheke, if you go to Kalabo, if you go to, it's difficult. So what has happened, Munsha, and our viewers, is that they've sidelined there for a long time. I think she went into that conference not knowing that there was going to be a different running mate.
Right.
So I think she must have been told today or yesterday to say, I'm sorry, you are not the vice president anymore. That's why she had to announce it today.
Yeah, and this is quite unusual, because I think in her mind she was ready to run again. I don't think she was ready to retire. Yeah, Vice President Inonge Wina, according to me and General Chipaku, on this one we agree. We don't always agree, but on this one we agree. She was just forced out today.
Yeah.
Now I have several people in my mind, General. And I want to see what you have in your mind, because you are very wise. Okay. Luapula United, there is Luapula United. I think much of Luapula United has already been sidelined because they are now candidates for MP.
Yeah,
there is Mbala Mafias, Nawakwi, and Freedom Sikazwe. Those are the ones I'm calling the Mbala Mafia. Now, I know there is a different Mbala Mafia during the Chiluba regime, but I'm calling it the Mbala Mafia. That remains intact, Nawakwi. But there is also another one I'm calling Sosala's children, meaning Chitimukulu's children, that he has openly said he wants. Now, Chitimukulu Sosala Kanyantamanga II has not hidden the fact that he wants to see not only a Bemba-speaking person, but Umube Mbankonko.
Yeah.
Because according to him, Sata was not Bemba enough, which I find very, very offensive. But I think Kanyantamanga II wants Umube Mbankonko to be the running mate. And so when I do all this math, here is my list. I want to know yours. The first one is Davis Chama. In that case, then there will be a Luapula person. Okay? Davis Chama, Minister of Defense. The reason why I think it's Davis Chama is because Davis Chama has been very loyal, has been less controversial, has been a very quiet and assuming guy in the back. Very few statements can be attributed to him. You really don't know who Davis Chama is. Like when you ask, who is Davis Chama? Zambians do not know. I'm thinking that President Lungu might lean towards Davis Chama. In that way, he will still keep the Luapula United. He will still keep, he can easily convince Kanyantamanga to say, it's okay, we have Davis Chama there. That is my number one. Number two, Walyangandu. I think Walyangandu would be a front runner because I think Kanyantamanga is openly lobbying for Engandu to be vice president or to be the running mate. The other one that could be a surprise is Charity Lumpa. I think, and then the last surprise I have, Nevas Mumba. So these are my top four.
Okay.
General, over to you.
We don't know. Nobody knows who Davis Chama is. He's a very difficult person because we don't know him.
Right.
We know that he's very loyal, but I don't think he's going to be. Because first of all, his educational background is unbelievably, nobody knows what Davis Chama has done.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Secondly, I agree with you. Nevas Mumba has been very, very quiet for some time.
Right.
And today he was the first one to congratulate and look at the integrity of the vice president, because he still wants to be vice president, and he doesn't know what he's doing. He's not in control of MMD, and he knows he won't win.
Right.
So I put that one as one.
Right.
The third one you have said is Nkandu. The chief has made it very, very clear that you must be, but let me tell you one thing, our viewers. Chief Chitimkulu made it very, very clear last year that the Bembas control Zambia, they own Zambia, they are the majority. They believe in that. That's why they wanted to put it in the constitution that he was going to be one of the senior chiefs responsible above the cabinet. President, and then the senior chiefs in the middle,
right?
And then the cabinet,
right?
So I would not be surprised that Nkandu would be nominated. The third one, I don't think they will come to Lumpa. I suspect,
right?
I suspect that one of the Kapwepwe girls will be the running mate.
All right,
again,
right? Yeah.
One of the Kapwepwe girls will be named as running mate because of the chief. Because the truth is that they want the next president to be from a Bemba Nkonko. They said Kaunda was not Bemba. They said Sata was not Bemba.
We want to be clear, Bemba Nkonko, because we want to get the distinction here that when Chitimukulu says, whatever Chitimukulu talks about, he is talking about Ababemba Nkonko. That is what he is driving at. He's not driving at the greater Bemba Commonwealth of Luapulans and other Bembas such as Ababisa. When he says Bembas, Chitimukulu talks about Ababemba Nkonko. So go ahead, Ababemba Nkonko.
Yeah. I think the Zambians must know why Sata didn't want Chitimukulu to be chief. Because Sata, the president, let his soul rest in peace, is a Biza. And he wanted a brother to Luo to be the paramount chief.
Okay.
Because they were saying no.
Now that's too political. The reason is you can't say that Sata was Biza. The reason is the distinction between Obabe Bankonko and the Biza aristocracy. There is no distinction between Obabe Bankonko and the Biza aristocracy. It's people who want to discriminate against the Bizas that want to say that Sata was not Umube Bankonko. In my opinion, Sata ali Mube Bankonko. Even if you were Biza, ali Mube Bankonko. But they have their own politics between Abena Ngandu and Abena Ngandu, the Ngandu clan, Abena Wina, and Abena Ngoshe Mukulu. Right? Because Michael Sata comes from Abena Ngoshe Mukulu of Umpika. Now, they think that they are supposed to produce a paramount, a chief of the Bemba-speaking Commonwealth. But Abena Wina have been the ones who have been ruling all these years.
Well, so that is the issue there. So they want somebody who's Bemba Nkonko.
Right.
And that's why I'm thinking that probably one of these, either Dr. Ngandu, that's why it's quiet. He's not standing on any parliamentary seat. And probably one of the Manakatwe, the Kapwepwe girls. Why? Right. Because the agenda of Kapwepwe is still there. A lot of people don't see it, but you can still feel it. That when FTJ took over, that Kapwepwe agenda was still there.
Right.
When Sata took over, the Kapwepwe agenda has been still there. So I think one of the Kapwepwe girls will be made running mate.
You realize that it's just about 10 hours from now.
I know. And for me, I'm excited because we will know the truth and the thinking of President Lungu tomorrow. we will realize where the influence of Chitimkulu tomorrow. We will realize where our country is going to tomorrow. And we have now known that Vice President Inonge Wina, the past 5 years, 7 years, has just been used.
She's been used and dumped at the last minute.
Used and dumped like a tissue.
At the last minute.
Last minute.
I don't believe that she on her own
voluntarily. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe that. She has been used and dumped. Okay. And I'm sorry, the people of the Western Province, your vice president, your daughter has been used and dumped. And for me, it's very, very annoying that she didn't realize that she was used and dumped.
Okay. Any surprising people? Any person who could creep in, apart from the ones we've mentioned?
No, out of those you've mentioned, one of them is going to be running mate tomorrow.
Mbala Mafias? Nawakwi?
Nawakwi, it will be a very big disaster. She could be a very big disaster, because that would be a very terrible ticket to run with. She could be.
Right.
That's why she's quiet. That's why she's been told to keep quiet.
Secretary General?
Can you repeat the question again, Musha?
Davis Miller, PF Secretary General.
No, he's too dull to be vice president.
Maybe Lungu is looking for a dull person.
You never know. I don't think so. But whatever is going to happen, the vice president, the running mate, is going to be a Bemba speaking person.
All right. Okay. That's general. Okay. And now we shift to UPND. You are a UPND member. You are quite connected, and you don't want to let the cat out of the bag, or the bag out of the cat. I'm not. So I can freely say that my first choice is, the list has 4 people in the UPND. Mtalena Lumango, Mtalena Lumango, Mtalena Lumango, Mtalena Lumango. General.
What I can tell you is, I'll go into my political position. HH has got a very, 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 very loyal running mate. And I'm sure when he announces that name on Wednesday, the whole country will celebrate. That's what I can tell you.
Okay. We get that. Okay. Now those are the running mates, and what happened there with Vice President Inonge. This is pretty shocking. Nalikwanda, we now have a candidate, and unfortunately Peter Senzagaze has not clinched it. What is your opinion on that?
Yeah, personally I'm disappointed, but the decision of the National Management Committee, I respect it. And I think Peterson is watching now.
Right.
I just wanted to tell Peterson, young man, there are a lot of opportunities in life. So being an MP is not the end and everything.
Right.
When we form government, we need a lot of honest people. We need a lot of committed people to do many other jobs.
Right.
And this is the same message which I'm giving to a lot of UPND people who are disappointed. One of them is Naomi in Solwezi.
Right.
There are a lot of opportunities. Peterson, do not give up. Do not stand as an independent.
All right.
And I'm glad that Peterson has understood that.
Right.
That's, being an MP is not the only job. There are a lot of other jobs.
Okay. Milna Katolo jumped from UPND, and then he became a nominee the next day. How do you make of that? I thought Milna Katolo was one of the most reasonable lawyers in our country, no?
Milna Katolo has been PF for a long time.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He's one of those who was being used in the UPND to try and bring all sorts of confusion.
Right.
And he has exposed himself, which is very, very good. And I can tell you now, come the 12th of August, Milna Katolo will be beaten clean in Solwezi.
I like the way you put it. In Chingola, General, I come from Chingola, as you know. I grew up in Chiwempala. That's where I was born at Chawama Clinic and grew up there. General, Chingola's dynamics is just like Mufulira is Luapula extension. Chingola is Northwestern extension, if you didn't know. So even growing up, Kumaikudire, we knew that it was heavily populated by our friends and relatives from the Northwestern. So it is very heavy. In fact, most of the MPs in Chingola have been who? Kabindele, Sondashi, and Inkua, and several others. So now there is a huge uproar. Of course, Chilufya Kazenene was once an MP as well, but it's an old one out. So those are some of the dynamics in Chingola. So there is an uproar because there is a gentleman known as Uncle G, who it was believed that was going to be adopted and has done excellent work for Chingola. What message do you have for Uncle G?
Uncle G, before I came on air, I was discussing with one young person in the Mine Workers Union in the Copper Belt.
Right.
And he was confirming Uncle G was the right candidate.
Right.
But he has not been adopted.
Right.
And he was also complaining about some of the candidates from UPND. And I was saying to this young person, you've got the chance to kick PF out.
Right.
And I know the influence there is Northwestern Province and the churches, the Catholic Church and my own church, UCZ.
Right.
My message there is beat PF.
Right.
And for this Uncle G, please think of Zambia first.
Okay.
Don't bring confusion there for the sake of being an MP. Let's think of the future of our country. There are a lot of other positions. He can do other jobs as well. He can become DC.
Right. So I've not heard a lot. I personally do not know him because of course I left Chingola as a teenager. But of course Chimpango is always it's a place that formed me, right? In Chimpango. And so I am very familiar and sensitive to those dynamics. And my hope is that the reason why Chipoka Mlenga has been nominated, of course, it's because they needed to bring up that NDC balance in it. And I think he's very well deserving. Of course, there was another candidate known as George Sichula, my high school friend as well, George Sichula from Chimpango. So it was Uncle G, George Sichula, and of course, Chipoka Mlenga. And there are several other candidates. But my appeal to the people of Chingola, let's just work together and rally behind this gentleman, Chipoka Mlenga. We know that Uncle G has a lot to offer. And if the UPND formed government, I believe that he can have a lot more to contribute. And I think the UPND must recognize the kind of work that Uncle G has put into the structures in Chingola, UPND structures.
Yes. That one I'm very sure that my colleague, the chairman of Copper Belt, Matambo, knows that. That Uncle G has put in a lot of work. Right. And he also has a lot of connection with the Mine Workers Union. Right. And that's why this young man who was telling me about it was really disappointed. But it has been done, and we still have a lot of opportunities for people like Uncle G.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, our pharmacist, you are our resident pharmacist. You are our resident pharmacist. What do you have to say over everything that we've talked about?
Okay, thank you. Let me start by talking first to Chingola and Chirabombwe.
Right.
Yes.
Now, as you are saying, I just want to remind our viewers that you can send stars as we are talking. You can like, share, and then send stars to TV Bakwetu. Thank you. Go ahead, Brother Jerome.
Okay. For Chingola, yes, there was a George Sichula, but Sichula, yes, he was popular for Chingola constituency. Though because of the alliance, it is okay also to have Chipoka Mlenga to be the candidate. Then for Chirabombwe, Kabuswe is a very popular candidate who was able to beat Musukwa there in Chirilabombwe than the Maonga, which people are talking about. So there are all these again things that happen where structure members are funding some kind of protest to show like they have adopted a candidate who's not popular, which is not true. And this is a situation which is I've seen in Chitilabombwe per se. Kabuswe is very much popular and loved by the people. Coming to the issue of the running mate for the PF, I'm seeing Given Winda.
Let me tell you something. Given Lubinda gets to be vice president, you hear from, this is not the last time you're going to hear from Kanyantamanga II. It will be a disaster. And I don't think Lungu will be prepared for it.
That will not happen.
But given
State House is probably monitoring our program right now. And if they've not yet finalized it, they know that you choose any. Unfortunately, if Lungu survives, Lungu is surviving today because of the Bemba vote. Without the Bemba vote, Lungu is tossed.
Exactly.
Yeah, but look, there is a given in the ear. Yes, there is a Chitaruchirufia on the other side. There is a Kambwiri on the other side, and the Davis Chama. Then on the UPND, the person who I've seen was so loyal. That's Narumango. She has brought a lot of stability in the UPND and the presidents of Haka in the HDM. So for me, she still stands out to be the running mate for the UPND than any other person in the UPND, including the alliance partner. No, on the other hand, the alliance partners like Felix Mutati, I love his way of his workaholic. I like the way he works and is honest in doing things. KBF, I would say KBF is.
Don't even go there. Don't even go there. KBF, don't even go to KBF. Yeah, I'm wondering. KBF. Anyway, any other thing, Jerome? We've got to bring in Hebert.
Hello.
We've got to bring in someone else now.
Oh, okay. No, thanks for your time. But people should not forget that Dr. Anby has been adopted back in PF. So if we are not careful, we are going to have a second season of 1B. Let's be careful.
Number I went for my first shot. General has had these shots as well. Now you are our resident pharmacist. Have you had your shot?
Unfortunately, no, Bamuisha. What is happening is in Zambia, we have a South African variant form of the virus that we know very well that AstraZeneca vaccine cannot neutralize. So as for me, I've said I'll wait for a vaccine that is very much okay, that I can take so that it can be able to neutralize the South African variant virus that we currently have. It's not just any vaccine, but the vaccine that will do the work. And that's what I'm waiting for. So I'm not yet done with that.
No, pharmacist, you are a pharmacist, but if we disagree, we want people to get this AstraZeneca vaccine, even if it's not effective against the South African variant.
If they can get it, yes, they should get it.
Pharmacists, we need to let people do. Otherwise, that's what I say. Bakatukanya twanine ndeke mukuvota batukanya titamwaeko ku Zambia pantu.
That is my biggest worry is
that pharmacists do something.
No, I'm saying myself, I'm not discouraging people. People should get, because they'll fail to travel like you have said. If you don't get, you not travel. But me, I don't have intentions of traveling outside.
Yeah, I want even Malawi. You mean tamwagaeko ku Malawi mweo?
Turi mu campaign ifwe bamwinsha twe making sure that church reaches State House.
Thank you. Our pharmacist has also endorsed HH. Kanshi, who is endorsing Lungu on this show? This is something. Wiseman, we have very little time. Number, you are our dependable person. So say something, please.
Thank you very much. Good evening, General.
Good evening, Wiseman. How are you?
Fine, thank you. I was happy to see Kaneo on the.
Wiseman, we've lost you. Can you hear Wiseman?
No.
General, I think we've lost Wiseman.
We've lost Wiseman.
Herbert Bilika.
Uncle Musa, how are you?
Very well. So what do you think about tomorrow? In about 9 hours, President Lungu is appointing a new running mate. Who do you think it will be?
About tomorrow, my choice is offshore, and I don't think you're going to believe my choice.
Right?
I think it's going to settle for Vincent Mwale.
It can't be no. Eastern Province, Eastern Province, Vice President, Eastern Province. The chief Chitimkulu would fail to sleep.
Yeah, yeah. I did not think for that.
That's
but
the is going to make. Then on Tasila, thank you so much for the information that Kaneo brought. Much of it was catered for by General. What I wanted to say, I really wanted to ask to say, if she did that in broad daylight, what else has she done behind our backs? And is there any legal action that's going to be taken against the crime that she committed? Because certainly that was a crime. That was a very huge offense that should not go unnoticed.
Yeah. Thank you, Herbert. Much appreciated. And who is the running mate for HH?
The running mate for HH, I only have one option. Bamayova Nalumango. She's the only one.
Ngaine.
Uncle Musha Madiran, that's more by NDC.
What? Yeah, no, Mulomo win. Aine, FNRanda. So for president, I am unique, I am PF, I am NDC, and then okay, I've defected from NDC.
Oh, so, that's good. That's good. The defection of the day.
I want to be considered kanshina defect. I want to be so HH ngamleta and your team, Anthony Walia. Muvebe by HH kuba I'm available. All right, thank you, Herbert, for that. Wiseman can't be reached. I think that's where we need to end. If you feel general,
well, I think let's end it this way. And my appeal to the you had asked a very good question, Munsha, at the beginning. The independent candidate.
Yeah.
What does the law say? And I think it's going to be very interesting this week, because if they are to be not members of a political party within 2 months, what does that mean?
General.
And in Eastern Province alone, I think we have had something like 7 independents standing.
Right. General, this is what now. The Constitution says what it says. I always go back to this thing. When you are reading the Constitution, it says what it says. The Constitution does not say what it does not say. So the Constitution says that you've got to have resigned as a member of a political party 2 months prior to the date of the election. You see. That's why some people tell me, Munsha, you are a lawyer wabasungu, everything. You see, the problem is, I think they should bring me to come and rewrite the Constitution, because it has some very peculiar things. Like when it says that 2 months before the date of the election, what does it actually say? Is it 2 months prior to nomination or 2 months prior to the actual date of the election? The actual date of the election is August 12. 2 months before that is June 12, which means an independent candidate should not have been a member of a political party as at June 12, 2021. The problem is the nomination actually takes place in May. So anyone can file as an independent. However, by June 12th, you must cease to be a member of a political party. The ECZ is saying that you must never ever promote any other political party or promote any candidate. That is not what the Constitution says. An independent candidate, according to the Constitution, does not need to be a member. However, because an independent candidate is a citizen of this country, they can promote any candidate of their choice, choose or wear any party regalia. The Constitution does not forbid them from endorsing a president, a councillor, or they. It does not prevent them from twerking for any political party they want.
Finally, Musha, there is a chief who's standing in Northwestern Province on the PF ticket. What does the Constitution say about chiefs?
On chiefs, I need to get back to our viewers because what I did was I did not read in detail the provision for chiefs. Constitution 2016, what happened with Constitution 2016 is that here is what happened with, so it was a very big constitution, but when they were passing it, they removed certain provisions and left lots of gaps. So on chiefs, I haven't critically read it. Once I read it critically, I'll come back, General. And it's not very easy for me to come back because I always have an opinion, but I need to come back. What I think is that chiefs cannot participate in partisan politics because that is what Constitution 1996 said. Yeah. Now, there is some changes that came in Constitution 2016. I need to read up on that.
Yeah, the Constitution 96 did not allow any chief. That's why Inyambo could not stand as, they didn't want Inyambo to stand as president.
Right.
And so my worry is, what does 2016 Constitution say about chiefs? And does this chief need to resign as chief? Or does he use his constitutional right and stand?
I think common sense, just common sense, he needs to resign as chief. You know, because I think he needs to resign as chief. You are chief.
That's my view. That's my view, because we can't respect him. We can't respect him when he becomes partisan. We can't. People can't respect him. No. And this is for our viewers. Is a chief who's a code fisher.
Right.
He's a Mzungu chief, but he's a chief. He's actually a chief. He's our local chief. Right. So, in my view, he should resign before he files his nominations.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is the case. We have several comments here. I'm just going to read some. Let's take it 1 hour 30 minutes. Is that okay?
That's fine. I'm happy with that.
What? So 1 hour 30 minutes means in 7 minutes we need to call it off. But let me see if we can get. Don't write Given Lubinda off. No, we are not writing Given Lubinda off. General, what are we doing as far as Given Lubinda is concerned?
Well, there's no way that they can replace a vice president who was a loss by another loss. Lubinda is loss, half loss. Yeah. And for me, he can't be rewarded for failing to deliver a bulletin. There's no way.
Yeah. One of the things, I haven't met Given Lubinda on many occasions, but I think one of these days when we meet, it will be interesting. Because Nkayanje Given Lubinda,
you can't reward somebody for failure. He failed to deliver a bulletin.
That's interesting. Stick to the link again. Oh, Andrew is looking for the link. It's now been taken by events. Sorry about that. We asked for
stars. Somebody's giving us
stars is money. Stars is actually money. When I say send stars, it's actually it's not something you actually type. It's money. Interesting.
Who's this one now? Who's this one? Is it Danny something? Can do. Don't be mean. Give us real stars.
Likezo Masua says Stevie Bakwetu is rocking. Thank you. Stevie Bakwetu,
thank you so much, Likezo, in England. I know that's one of my Lozi queens. I knew you were watching. Thank you so much for that.
And now look, more stars from Shedrick Man. And Kelvin Habusu. Hey, Wina. It's money. That's what it is.
Kelvin, give us real money. We'll give you the best stars, the best people in Zambia. We have a lineup of good people for you, especially during the campaign. We will bring you all the candidates, including Lungu himself. We'll bring him here. By the way, Munsha.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we could be seeing a petition.
Okay, so you want my honest opinion about that?
Yes, go ahead, please.
It has zero chance succeeding.
Well, but no, the petition being filed and succeeding are two different things.
Okay.
It might be filed tomorrow.
Right.
It might fail because the Concord they've got weak legs. They can't stand on their own. Remember, Lungu also threatened the Concord. He said, if you judge against me, there will be chaos in Zambia. So, but my take is this: there will be a petition filed tomorrow. Watch this space. Whether it goes through the Concord, that's a different thing.
Right. K for Life says, Jerome, I like your analysis. Thank you, K. I think Jerome appreciates that that shout out. Number, do you also like General's analysis? If so, please, wherever General, but you like his analysis. Pantumailo, General will be busy. I'm phoning General Muliku is I think busy because anyway. When Chiuta kids are sent us more stars, look at that. Dikeso Masua says, Jerome Kanika, I thought you already had your vaccine. No, he didn't. Rose Kawe, so this is for gents only. Gents? No. It's also open to ladies. We always have Rose Limbrick. It's just that she's not phoning in today. And we'll have ladies coming. Dr. Kaunda taught his children very well, says Alex Mayota. Dr. Kaunda taught his children.
They were very responsible. But, I think he mentioned to say one of his brothers, he was involved in a very, very, very difficult situation where a young lady was shot and she died. He was actually committed to, he was sentenced to death.
Yeah.
And then he appealed and he won his case. But his father never intervened in the case. Never.
Anyway, that we will never know.
You never know, but I think he didn't.
Max O'Malley is asking that, is the vice president eligible to be an independent vice president? I want at independent vice president.
That would be interesting. That would be very interesting.
Dorothy Chama says that, General, you are the best.
Oh, so thank you so much. If you can tell my wife that, she'll be very happy.
Why? Why should she be going? That General is the best.
She says I spend a lot of time on UPND and backway to TV. So if you can tell her to say I'm doing a good job, I think she'll be very happy.
Yeah. Maria K says, Mr. Musha, why don't you lay off talking about the petition out of respect for a fellow lawyer? I'm sure for him to put in such a big petition, he believes it will go through. Nakana. I will not comment further on this question. Musha, when are you coming back to Zambia? I'm coming back to Zambia maybe in Shishibe. Depending on how a few things fall into place. Tekui mafia mpulwa wesa. Go change it. So first, we are still evaluating. I'll let you know when I come, definitely. General, when are you going?
I'm just waiting for certain things from the green light from the British government first, because I don't want to end up paying £5,000 to be quarantined when I come back. But I am coming to campaign.
Yeah.
And I've said to people, I am coming to campaign in Eastern Province, in Kabwe, and probably I'm going to Northern Province.
General, Malanji, Dr. Helicopter?
No way. He can't be vice president.
Dr. Christine Kaseba?
Yes, yes. But, you know, one thing about Kaseba is that she's a civil servant. When did she resign as a civil servant? As a high commissioner, you're a civil servant.
Right. Yeah.
And secondly, he can't take advantage of late Sata's legacy. People will see through that.
Yeah. All right. And what did you say about Dr. Malanje? Now, General, you say that Dr. Malanje has actually got 2 helicopters, so he's Dr. Helicopter?
Yeah, it's Dr. Helicopter, and he's the one of those who's very much loaded.
So if he's loaded with 2 helicopters, Nishikanshin Shimpundu helicopter.
Shimpundu helicopter, but we know a lot about. He's my cousin. He's from the Northwestern Province, Malanje. He was married to Nkumbula's wife, so we know a lot of stories about him. So that's why I call him Dr. Helicopter. But he can't be. You know, if they don't get somebody from the north, Chitimkulu will be mad.
Very much.
That's a fact.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. It's been 1 hour and a half. Now, if we are able to, and this is one of the things we need to work on, General, is to be able to cut the interview with Colonel Panji Kaunda and make it a standalone, because that one is loaded. And so when we say Okweba Tasila, she is Tasila, Chimutengo Forest, Lungu, Mwansa.
No, you're missing one name in between each.
Go ahead. What is that name?
It's Tasila, Mukula, Chimtango Forest, Lungu, Mwansa. That's the complete name. Remember, she was involved in Mkula. Remember, they threatened to go to court. They never went to court.
Right.
That charge over Mkula is still standing.
Right. Thank you very much. This has been TV Bakwetu. General, please say your goodbyes and then I'll say mine.
Thank you so much to our viewers. I usually say good night, Chiwampala, and good night, Zambia, and good night to all our viewers all over the world. Those of you who want to give us stars, please give us stars, because we want to give you good program. Thank you, and good night. Good.
Thank you very much for joining us today. 1 hour, 30 minutes of talking. And then please share, invite as many people as possible to like our page and promote our TV Bakwetu, and of course send stars. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been Elias Munsha together with General Chipaku, and we had a guest, Colonel Panji Kaunda. Please go back and listen to this over and over again, and listen to Colonel Panji very, very well. Thank you very much, and we will definitely see you. Have a good night. And as soon as the running mate is announced tomorrow, we will be back in the evening to talk about President Lungu's choice. We've made our speculations, but ultimately it's up to the president himself to make a decision. And we are hoping that in the next 9 hours, he will have made a decision, and we will be back to talk about that choice tomorrow, on Wednesday, and several other days to come. Thank you very much. From all of us here, God bless you, and God bless our country. Thank you.